You're listening to the Flow Friday Sports Show. Welcome back. And it's time to head into the Riverina. We're going to take a look at Hume netball. And joining me on the line is our resident expert, Carla Fletcher, as we head into finals territory tomorrow. Carla, lovely to have you with us again. How are you?
I'm well, thanks, Alice. And you're going okay?
Not doing too badly. I'm particularly pumped up and lively because the finals are on, and this is my favourite netball competition. I make no secret of that, Carla, because you just never know how to predict it, and there's so much action going on too, and we're into the final stage now of the season, so you must be pretty excited about that.
Yeah, look, we're finally there. It's really hard for teams towards the end of the season to, just get that motivation and get back on the court each week when they know their season's basically over. So well done to everyone who's made it through to the finals, and a big thank you to all the clubs and all the helpers and volunteers throughout the season. We can't do that without any of them helping their teams get on the court. So, yeah, pretty excited, the start of the double weekend of finals. So, yeah, we should see what happens on the weekend.
Well, you say there that, for some teams they've got to go through the motions, but for other teams they're really at the absolute apex of the year for them, and it's going to be great to see how some of these teams go. We'll talk about finals action with you in a short while, but firstly let's just review round 18. We'll start off with Osborne, the table toppers, winning the minor premiership in this comp. Of course, they were too good for CDHBU, 61-27 the final score.
Yeah, look, Osborne are really starting to finish their season off really strong. They've got all their team back on deck. So they're pretty pumped, and they'll be looking forward to their finals campaign. They'll be hoping to back it up this year. Look, they had a great finish to the home and away season. They had a bit of a slow start, but, I think they're all gelling together nicely, and, they're doing what they need to be doing at this end of the season. Abby O'Connell, she had a great game in defence, and she took out the player's player. And Courtney Menzies had an awesome game in wing attack. She'll be a key player to watch in the finals. And it was exciting for one of their young club legends, Rose Kennedy, who stepped up into A grade on the weekend. Tamia Richardson, Ava Phibbs and Chloe Gilchrist all had great games for CDHBU, and they were really pleased with, how they matched up better at Osborne than the first time they played. So, they finished off the season quite happy with themselves.
All right, well, let's take a look at the Billabong Crows because they're involved in the game of the round against Lockhart. 39-35 the final score. And Billabong Crows, surely they were looking over their shoulder at some point, Carla, because they're involved in the finals, but Lockhart nearly gave them a bit of a bath in the end.
Yeah, look, this was a cracker of a game, actually. I umpired this game, so, it was just from the first whistle, it was just so tightly contested throughout the whole four quarters. The Crows girls, they were pretty pleased with how they've finished off their season with the win, but look, Lockhart did not make it easy for them whatsoever. They just kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and it was a really hard-fought win by the Crows. So best on for the Crows went to their goal attack, Jess Feely, who shot really well, and Brooke Davies played a really solid game in goal defence, where Lockhart awards went to Maddie Robertson in goal attack. She shot beautifully when she needed to. And also Sarah Anderson had a really steady game in wing attack and wing defence. So Lockhart will be really thrilled with the way they've finished off the season.
Jindera had a fairly easy one to close out the minor rounds. They beat Henty 70-29. So they'll make sure that they've got their guard up because they won't get as easier of a game in a couple of weeks' time, Carla.
Yeah, no, that was a big score for Jindera. I think they'll be working on their combinations and trying to figure out the best matchups against Osborne in a couple of weeks' time. But, they finished off the season fairly well. Their awards went to Shana Holland and Taylor Bogle. And, look, the Hendy girls are really pleased with their season. Although they didn't have a win, they've improved every week, and they're really super excited to see what the next couple of years is going to bring to the club. They've got a really young team, and their awards went to Holly Kinney, and the coach's award went to Olivia Hall.
Okay, moving along, Holbrook, they're another side that'll be in finals contention. Well, they're in the finals. They're playing this week. They beat Culcan, and it was a 45-34 win. So not a whole lot in this one, Carla.
No, it's not. I think maybe Culcan maybe didn't have their full team in. They've got a couple of injuries. So, Holbrook would have, capitalised on that. And they've come away with a really consistent win. They've finished off their season really well. And I think their big aim was, just to have that consistency for full 4 quarters. And they're pretty pleased that they've been doing that in the last few games as they head into finals. And their best on went to Jodie Ross-Smith, and also the other awards to Claire Marriott and Brittany Deegan.
Okay, the Brocklesby Burrumbuttock Saints, they weren't good enough at home, losing out to the Murray Magpies 59-36. How do you sort of, rate these two sides as far as their season went?
Yeah, look, I think, the BB Saints girls, they were a couple of key players down. And look, they had to work really hard, and some of the shooters for Murray Magpies, they just don't miss. They really have their eye in, and the Saints girls just couldn't capitalise on any of their turnovers. Their awards went to Jemima Dunstan and Tia DeAngry, and Laura Kieran and Kira Nicholson were award winners for Murray Magpies. So, I think both teams will be looking at their off season and really working hard, maybe just getting a couple of key players to come into their team. Unfortunately they're both not playing finals this year, but I think they'll be back next year with a team to watch.
Now, Howlong were involved in the last game of the round, and we'll see them in the finals. They were too good for the Giants, 56-34. So Howlong, they've been the, I guess, dark horse all season long. Can they do some damage in finals time, Carla?
Yeah, look, they've been playing some beautiful netball, a little bit up and down over the last few weeks, depending on what players have got in and out of their side. But, they were pretty pleased with their performance on the weekend leading into finals. Their best players were Abby Lichty in goal defence and Kirby McDonald. The Ramble-Bundry girls, they would have put up a little bit of a fight for the girls. It wasn't really that big a margin in the end, but they'll also be looking to improve their team over the off-season. But, I think Howlong will be a team to watch over the next few weeks.
Okay, there we go. Well, it's time to discuss finals. Before we get to that, though, we'll just get you to recap the ladder for us, Carla. How's it finished after 18 games?
Yeah, look, Osborne have finished on top of the ladder. They haven't lost a game. Then followed by Jindera, Howlong, Billabong Crows, Holbrook and Contend, who make up the top 6. And then, behind we have Murray Magpies, Lockhart, CDHBU, BB Saints, Ramble-Bundry, Walla Giants, and then Henke. So, a pretty mixed result for the year. Osborne have just taken out the minor premiers, as you said before, with no losses this year. So hopefully they can continue their form.
Okay, now, before we take a look at 8 grade finals, just bring us in on some of the other finals action happening across the grades this weekend, Carla.
Yeah, look, but everyone will be heading to Wabundry on Saturday and Sunday. And look, it's fantastic. We've got all 12 clubs represented over the final series. So we haven't had that for a few years, so it's well done to all the clubs for their work during the year and their teams, and I wish everyone the best of luck on the weekend.
Well said. Well, speaking of action happening this weekend, let's look at it. The A grade in the 3rd versus 6 finals game. It's Howlong versus Culcan. Give us a bit of a preview of this one, Carla.
Yeah, look, both teams have had a great season. Howlong probably a little bit more stronger, but I've just got my fingers crossed that the Culcan girls are all ready to take the court and they haven't got any injuries hanging over their heads. I think, 2 key players for both teams. One will be Jess Lade for Howlong. She's a shooter, and also Olivia Brunner in the goals as well for Culcan. They'll be both 2 key players to watch. And I think if they've both got their eyes in, it's going to be a really interesting game. But I think, Howlong have been sitting up there for a long time and they'll be really eager to win. So I think Howlong might take the game on Saturday.
There we have it. Well, Crows and Holbrook, surely it'll be a close one. You can't predict this one. Both sides, well, you never know what you're going to get on the day, whether it's them being at their best or not at their best. It's the 4th versus 5th finals game. This one will be pretty tight, you'd think, Carla?
Yeah, look, Billabong Crows, they played a nice game of netball, and Holbrook are really, they're consistent. They've been working hard. They've been working up to this for a few years now to get back up into the finals in A grade. So I think it's going to be a really good game. I don't think anyone's going to let it go easily. Billabong Crows probably got a little bit maybe more composure and experience in finals, and it'll be really interesting, to see how they both go. But, they've both got a tall lineup at each end, so I think it's going to be a game that's going to be won in the goal circle. So I think the defenders are going to be key on this week's game. And I'm just going to tip Crows by a couple of goals.
There we go. She's made the call. Well, Osborne and Jindera sit out this week. We certainly look forward to seeing how those two sides will get on next week. But until then, Carla, it's been great to speak to you and pick your brains about Hume netball. Carla Fletcher joining us as we enter into our first round of netball finals in the Riverina. Take it easy, Carla. Enjoy all the action on the weekend.
Thanks, Ellis, and good luck, everyone, for the weekend.